Alrighty. We are testing out an application called OctoPrint today. Well, it's a plugin application combination of things. And before I begin, I'm just kind of checking if everything is laggy. Yeah, because I forgot to hit the go live button. There have been some minor changes in the way this works. So basically, you can run OctoPrint it has a few ways to operate this. And in fact, I keep saying OctoPrint, I should say OctoPrint. I might have to rename, I'm going to rename it right now, OctoPrint. I don't think it really matters, but I mean, there is a distinction. Okay, there we go. So anyway, what's going on here? Basically, this is a program that is running on my Raspberry Pi, little tiny single board computer. And at the beginning of printing an item, it has to warm up the printer to a particular temperature. It has to warm up the nozzle and the bed. So you got the bed temperature down here, which is around 52 or 55 Celsius. And we have the nozzle temperature over here. And the way mine is set up, or the way I've configured it, we do the very first layer, the bottommost layer of our print. So if we have like, this object here, the bottom layer will typically print at a different temperature, a lower temperature. And I found that this helps in keeping the shape of the bottom layer from being wider than the rest, because otherwise there's this tendency for the subsequent layers to be narrower than the first layer. But anyway, right now I'm just trying to find out how well this works. I've never used it. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I basically told OctoPrint to print out a item that was on my SD card, which is all fine and dandy, but I mean, I can't even read these file names. They're truncated file names. So that doesn't really, make it easy to determine what I'm actually printing, unless I already know what's on the SD card. However, by setting up OctoPrint and using the OctoPrint plugin in the slicer, this is a slicer, this is called Cura. And Cura is an application that you basically download your model. So you download these STL files. You open up the STL file in here. You make some adjustments to it. In my case, I did some resizing to the model because I didn't want to spend like all day printing the starship. I just wanted to see like how it would start. And I didn't even do anything else. I was really supposed to do the proper, leveling routine. So I'm about to go look at the printer physically and see what happens. But while it's printing, we can see this happen. And I'm going to go take a look at the printer. That's the Raspberry Pi I'm currently using. Now, you might notice it's got a big white LCD display on it, and that's because, well, that happens to have one. Now, I have a SD card that has an operating system image on it, which allows it to boot up into Linux and run a functional LCD. I can, use it as a touch screen or simply use a wireless keyboard and mouse on it. And ultimately, with this, I may get a different Raspberry Pi or use a different unit, maybe an older unit for this purpose. Another idea I had was to maybe even get the screen working on here and use that as some kind of maybe just I don't even know, like I was thinking maybe mounting the LCD screen to the front of the tent so that I can monitor something, put a temperature display on it, for example, and maybe like a button, like an abort button, or in case of emergency button. I don't even know what I'd put on it, but really, I don't, the whole point of using OctoPrint is to avoid having to touch the printer. Before OctoPrint, every time I wanted to make a revision, I'd have to go to my computer, pop in the SD card, use the slicer to make preparations, adjust it, slice it out, and then send it to my SD card, and then manually put the SD card into the printer under the bed, and use these buttons and knobs to, get it going. And if, let's say I ran into an issue, I would then have to use these controls to stop the printer, take the SD card out, put it back in my computer, and repeat the process. But I'm very surprised that it's printing despite my lack of effort. Like, I didn't even try leveling it. I didn't do anything useful or important yet. And it could be that everything was already leveled and aligned correctly days ago. More likely, it's not running into issues yet because we're printing on the center of the printer bed. Typically anything in the center of the bed is going to be less challenging, whether it be this cube remnant, or you can see this starship is not very large. It's when I go to print out this starship and I make it large, like as wide as you possibly can, then we are gonna, have some issues there. We're gonna, find that things get temperamental as you get near the various corners. Okay, so no surprise, it's printing something, it's just not looking great. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to abort our print. Although before I do that, what happens when I click here? Okay, if I click OctoPrint, it just opens up the web browser interface. So we're going to abort. Do you want to abort? Yeah, I want to abort. And then we'll let it do this thing. Now, this is good to know. We can preheat the printer. So I'm going to tell it to preheat the extruder and the bed because I don't want that to cool down. I want to keep it hot. I would like to do the so-called mesh leveling, and that might require me to do a major update. I may have to do some updating. I may have to install some other stuff. Let's keep it like that. Keep it like this so that we can see, the settings and all of that. And that is, where I have to go next is getting the, not fancy, but just having the ability to control the leveling would be, a good idea. So let's Google that. Mesh leveling. What is that? OctoPrint. All right. So let's see here. Bed level visualizer. Is it a plugin or is this part of it? It looks like something I have to download. Okay, and you can do it through a command line, apparently. I guess I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I'm merely taking a guess here right now what is going on here. This plugin uses blah blah library to do this whole thing. You can download it, or you can use this command line installer. But does that mean I have to SSH or use the terminal to do that? Because I do have a terminal interface right here. I don't think that's a Linux terminal. Nah, it's not no Linux terminal. So my guess is I would have to go and do Yep, I know what's going on here. I gotta clean up my known hosts list. Oh, that's cool. That's very nice when they update these, commands to like give you some useful output. Like, okay, I can do that. Yeah. Is that, basically this is just telling you that if someone's engaged in foul play, and your SSH key doesn't match what it expects to be, that could be a red flag. But in my case, I'm well aware that I no longer use the old device that had the same IP address. Okay, so now we got OctoPrint version listed here. Now, I'm just taking a guess here, but my guess is that, I'm hoping, I don't actually know if this works, but my guess is that copying this command will run an installation tool. A wild guess, like I'm just, it doesn't spell it out for you, but I'm guessing that's what, is wanted here. Because I swear, yeah, no, it looks like it's, we got red text. Oh, there's a built-in repository? Hell yeah, I'll use that first before I start throwing random shit at it. Because, I mean, look, that could be fine, but if they got a plugin repository, yeah, you should probably use that. Of course, these are only my installed plugins, so I can click on Get More. There we are. I see, like, that's like the first one there. All right, let's do that. Now, I literally clicked on the word install, and now what do they mean by that? Oh, okay, yes. I'm well aware of this. And I don't really care. Oh! Oh, that's annoying. That's so effing annoying. But makes sense. It does make sense. Basically, what this is telling me is that I cannot install new plugins until I plug in a more powerful power adapter into this. Kind of just inconvenient. It's not a big deal, but yeah, if that's what they want, okay, fine. I guess I'm gonna have to do that. Now I gotta go looking for a power brick. That could take me a little while. I'll take a quick look, and if I don't find one, I'll have to resume this. Or maybe we could just take the stupid LCD screen off of that, off of the Raspberry Pi. I'd be entirely fine with that. I doubt this will work, but essentially what we did was we just removed this LCD display and touch screen unit from the Raspberry Pi, since I don't need it right now. It's not set up on this particular SD card, and yeah, I mean, my main objective is not to be using this anyway, so yeah, that's how we're doing it. And once the Raspberry Pi boots up and, establishes a connection with the printer, That's a little blurry there. Once it connects, we can see if it still yells at us for the power consumption or power utilization. Okay, we'll give that a few seconds. Punkwaddle had a new ponderance today. Oh, I gotta log in. Ah, bother. Okay, yeah, I gotta go get the, I gotta get a better power supply. I was using a Samsung phone charger. That will have to change. Okay. I highly doubt this is gonna work because it would just be too convenient. I grabbed a high-end quality power brick so that I can, not get that stupid undervoltage warning when I'm connecting my Raspberry Pi. But I suspect that even though this Raspberry Pi has a USB Type-C connection on it, that they probably, I mean, I could look it up, but I bet you they made it like some special bull. Like maybe, because I supplied it with a 5-volt 2 amp. Okay, this is not USB-C, this is micro USB 2.0. And so, the fact that, even people on Stack Exchange are, posting queries about this, at least one, seems to support my hunch that this Raspberry Pi is a damned snowflake, for lack of a better term. But jokes aside, let's see what happens here. Refresh, oh, it's not complaining anymore. All right, never mind. I'm not going to rant. It's good. Wait, what the fuck? It's not warning me this time, but... let's refresh it. Maybe it'll be different. Oh, come on, you motherfucker. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, do I have to order a damned, like, specialty power supply? Is that what they're saying now? It's like, what the hell do I need? Like, is this a joke? Really? I gotta get this? I mean, which is actually kind of nice. Got a little power switch on it, but like... I find it super inconvenient. I can't take advantage of the fancy mesh leveling feature unless I have that piece of crap. I find that very, very annoying. But in the meantime, we're going to go and tell the printer to preheat. And then I'm going to run the leveling using the menu on the printer because that does work. I just found it inconvenient. I don't know why it doesn't just... There we go. We're going to hit the home button. Oh, God. No. Come on, you dumb printer. Idiot machine. Stop it. Pardon me. So what happened there was, I still had something on the build surface, right? I still had a remnant of a Starship on the print bed. And I told it to, go to the home position. So it drags the remnant of the Starship across the printer bed and then tries to mush it into the corner. But that's okay. We're good now. So the printer's warming up. So what we do is we can tell it to just home the Z position and hey, the camera went out. Okay, there we go. So anyway, that is more sensible, and we could even do homing it on all 3 axes. I'm probably gonna put a different camera in here, but for now, I think this will be sufficient. Now, basically what we're doing is 2 things. Warming it up, and then once we know we have it at the temperature we want it to be at, then we can use the buttons on the printer to manually level it. Now, I'm never comfortable doing this, like, right after it's warmed up, because the way I see it, it takes a little bit of time for the heat to permeate or, conduct to make its way through the plate, through the metal plate, through the glass. So usually I like to bring it up to this temperature and, you know, hold it for a while. Because, as, you know, I might have mentioned before, when it cools down, you know, basically when it heats up, the components are going to expand. And that expansion is going to affect what the sensor sees. Like, so if the bed is this close, when it cools down, the sensor is going to have to go down a little bit lower. And so if you level your bed, if you get your measurements while it's cold, then when you actually go to print, you're going to find that nothing is going to adhere. It's not going to work right. That's all. So we resolve that by doing this. And I'm going to go watch Punk Waddle's video. How cool is that? A penguin. Hello. I'm Punk Waddle. And I'm on Ron's printer today. Alright, yeah. I can't do a cool, deep voice like that. Okay, so we got the heating on. You see it kind of like does this sine wave looking thing. So now it's going to run the leveling routine. And in this procedure, it's going to just go through various points on the bed. And I really wish I had like both a top camera and a side camera at the same time. I feel like that would be really convenient. But basically, it's just kind of like poking the sensor probe into all of the, you know, designated points. And then it's going to have a map. It's going to know, based on that information, how to offset and by how much to make that offset. Just enough time to get 4 curls in on a 30-pound. And there's our map. You can see that the left side is significantly more elevated than the rest of it. It's actually might, you know, obviously the camera is mad sketchy, but it might not be completely, like, out there. in any case, as long as the printer measures it, hopefully it'll be able to manage. More likely, I'll have to do some heavy maintenance on this at some point if I want to print out anything that covers all four corners. But anything in this central circle will probably be fine. I personally don't trust it, but we'll take our chances because I am not liking this little area here. Like, I don't know if that's about... The numbers aren't particularly drastic, but I'm not crazy about it. So let's get back to our model and decide what we want to do here. Well, number one, we do want to be a little larger. So maybe we do like 30%. And at 30%, the BC304 data list looks like that. Maybe we do 35%. Maybe we do 40%. Now, I have a spool of wood PLA filament in there. I don't know how long it'll actually last, but we'll give it a shot. Now, one way we can conserve the filament that we utilize is by, you know, for example, minimizing our infill. And infill, you can actually do a lot of these things completely hollow. As you can see, especially on my old computer here, it takes a little bit of time and effort for it to, like, you know, crunch the numbers. I should probably, now that I got OctoPrint on here, one really exciting prospect is that I don't have to run this program on my old computer anymore. Like, just because my old computer is next to the printer, I could totally run everything on my good computer now. I could run it on my server. I could run it on my desktop. And that would probably, you know, be ideal because, you know, a more powerful computer can definitely do this whole, you know, thing quicker. We're going to have to give that a moment to process. Yeah. Well, as long as the printer is holding the temperature, now, one thing I just did was when I ran the auto leveling, I just hit continue, and I don't know if continue is the same thing as save mesh. So I'm rerunning it again because I might have to hit the save button before it can, you know, do anything. So we're going to let that run, and in the meantime, we're going to take a look at the model. So if you go to the preview tab, you actually get like this, and I think what happened was these hollow supports called tree supports have been built around the model like a tree trunk, and that can be good and bad because I've had situations where too many tree supports made a bloody mess of the model, and they also take more processing time, as you just witnessed. So we might say, let me think here, 0, 40, 50 degree angle. Honestly, I'm willing to gamble with these supports. The bigger concern is the infill material. Do we need that much infill? It will certainly make a strong interior, but we probably don't need that much infill. We probably don't even need, yeah, that even any meaningful percentage. Some people, what they do is they make the shell of the model thicker. so that they don't need any infill material, and that's an option too. Okay, good. So we just saved it. But anyway, I got me some dinner to eat. So I don't know if I have the patience to wait for the tree support to be generated. I'm certainly not comfortable doing this without any support material. But if anything, what I might do is this. Cancel the generating and switch to a different support. We'll go with more conventional supports. And, well, let's see here. If we got concentric rings. The concentric rings, believe it or not, are generally, in my opinion, easier to remove. Whereas, here's the support material I used on the Starship Daedalus. The diamond, or whatever you call it. Now, this pattern is very strong, but good luck removing it from the model once you're done printing it. You'll pretty much rip. I'm probably gonna. I gotta be real gentle because I'm gonna be ripping. If I go too quick, too aggressively, I'll probably end up ripping parts of the ship off. Sometimes you can glue it back on. Other times you can sort of just finagle it. A lot of times what I do is I just kind of crush the support elements using a tool like the one I have in my hand now, because usually crushing, twisting, and, fracturing the support material, you'll make pretty good progress that way. Almost like when the firefighters use the jaws of life, same concept. Okay, did it? No, it's not done yet. So I'm like literally just kind of twisting, mangling it, and something like this. I'm gonna have a lot of junk to sweep up off my desk and the floor when I'm done. That's the biggest downside of this whole, little trick here. Well, not the biggest downside, just one of the downsides, I would say. And, I mean, I risk ripping a warp nacelle off of this starship. Yep, already did it. There's like this little ball-shaped element on the back of every warp nacelle on Star Trek. You have this little ball here, and you can see that ball is not going to stay there. At this point, I may glue it back on. I may just say, screw it, I don't need it. And all the while, we're still waiting for the slicer to do its job. As you can see, the slicer is just kind of like, taking its time, unfortunately. Ah, shoot. And the printer's beginning to cool down. That's never good. That's never fun. When the printer cools down, it's like, no, I need that build plate to be hot. I don't give a shit about the nozzle. I need the build plate to stay hot. If that thing cools down, it freaking shrinks. It's really annoying. Like, it screws up the leveling that we just did twice. So, yeah, I mean, we got the model here. It's big. I think that the support material will handle these red areas here. The problem is I'm still waiting for the bloody software to finish here. I want to eat. I want to eat my dinner. I don't want to wait anymore. Just saying. I may just, monitor this from my phone while I eat, which I totally could do, which is nice about using OctoPrint, is that you can literally monitor this from your phone while eating dinner. I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell happened there. It looks like it just gave up on me. I'm going to do it again. Maybe if we're lucky, there's some files that were cached that will be used for the second attempt to save me time. But if not, you know, I'm going to just let it be. But yeah, you can see after using the pliers on this, you can see how a shape of a starship is starting to come out here. Now you might see this weird like zigzag line in the bottom, and that's actually the slicer software attempting to hide the seam by sort of like, you know, like the idea is that if you didn't have a smooth barrel shape, if you had like a complex pattern, a textured pattern, those little zigzags would be less noticeable. Whereas this is a smooth model, so those little zigzags, you know, don't really fool anybody. But the other hand, this whole area was not exposed before, but you can see on the back of it, we still have this like material here that we need to like scrape off, sand off, or something. And, you know, like any Starfleet ship, there's like actually an overhang at the end here, but I ripped off chunks of that overhang before. So that has to be dealt with carefully. And I've done, you know, I can do it, you know, no big deal. I have a couple of tricks, but ideally they sell filament that you can pretty much rinse off with water, you know, depending on the type of printer and all of that, that it exists. And I can't use it because I don't have more than one nozzle. But if I had like 2 nozzles in the same printer, theoretically, yeah, I could put like, or 2 different types of filament could be fed through the same nozzle. I can do stuff like that. I can tell it to print the supports using a different material than the rest of the model. And then essentially you would literally put it under warm water and wash away the stuff. So yeah, that's kind of cool, but we don't have that right now. And with that said, okay, good, I could do this. So we're going to go to the preview. And there we go. So just like before when we saw the tree supports, except now we have this other material. And unlike the diamond supports, these concentric... Oh, those look a little bit tight. But you can see like, there's like a floor, but you can see this stuff here. That'll be easier to remove. I'm a little worried about... Okay, so you have a bed... I'm a little worried about wasted material on other parts, but it looks like it's not going to do a whole lot. So you got these concentric rings, but it's not going to go crazy. So I think it should be fine. It will take 18 hours for it to print, and the amount of material I have in my spool might not even be enough. $117 grams. That would be a quarter pound of material. I think there might be about a quarter pound of material in there. So, you know what? We're going to wing it. We're going to hope that this works. So, we just hit print. It ships it off to the printer, which is already warmed up. Although the nozzle is at a low temperature. So, it's going to have to take some time to warm up the nozzle. And if it works, well, I'll check back later because I don't think we want to run this stream, you know, like, you know, with nobody watching. But, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to end this stream by... Yeah, no, I'm not going to leave it running, yeah. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall end transmission.